Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you're new. I just hit veteran rank with an unexpected COREBREAKER nobody believed in the Master Premier format. That Pokemon is on your screen now, and it's named Krookodile. This was actually what I believe to be initially a joke from a commenter, Sean SMS29. So thanks so much for the recommendation. I don't know if you were joking or not, but let's go ahead and take a look at what Krookodile can do in the Master Premier Cup. We're going to be kicking things off with game number 1. What an amazing lead it is. Gyarados leading into a Skeleturge. Not a Pokemon oftentimes seen in the Master Premier format, but it's definitely trying to do something similar to what we're doing here with Krookodile, which, again, Krookodile felt like a lot more viable of an option than what I was initially intending to do with Pangoro. But nevertheless, they are going to safe switch into their Florges. I'm going to eat the Moonblast, and since I don't really have a good switch into this Florges, I'm going to allow them to throw the move at my Gyarados, even though it's going to be a hard-hitting Moonblast, and then pivot into my own Florges. This will unfortunately misalign the switch timer, but I don't really have much of another option. And although they're going to be able to now pivot out into their Skeleturge, I'm going to be able to overfarm quite a bit, go for a Chilling Water, and if they don't throw on alignment and undertap right now, I should be able to pivot out, but I'm going to go for yet another Chilling Water first. Now, they're at 80 energy, and I'm going to make the pivot into my Krookodile. Krookodile able to absorb what is hopefully going to be a -2 Shadow Ball. And the -2 Shadow Ball, unlike when we were taking -2 moves with Pangoro, actually doesn't do that much damage, so Krookodile able to absorb just a little bit of damage in this league. They are now going to pivot back into their Florges. I believe Krookodile is a very valuable COREBREAKER and might have play in the back, so I am going to shield it up, and we are able to get the farm down of the Florges before they're able to make another Chilling Water, and in the back, they've got Metagross. Krookodile reaching for the Brick Break, although you may not think it this early on in the video, has more than earned its merit. Now that the Metagross's defense has been lowered by 1 stage, I'm going to try to end the game by landing a Crunch straight away. I don't think it would have quite KO'd from that range, but the combination of that Crunch landing and some Mud Slaps would have definitely done the trick. They go for the Meteor Mash, they attempt to catch onto the Skeleturge, and this game is now over, and my opponent sees it as well. GG's. Not the best lead in the next match, but it is playable. It's going to be Gyarados into Magnezone, and although it's playable, it's definitely not going to be playable with us staying in with our Gyarados. Rather, I'm going to bring in my Florges immediately, not throw a single Dragon Breath, and that allows me to get a Chilling Water off before the Magnezone throws any energy at all. And that is very important in this particular matchup, because I would much rather take a debuffed Wild Charge than a non-debuffed Wild Charge. They are going to bring in their Gyarados as an answer to my Florges, and we're able to land a Moonblast, which gets the 10% chance at a debuff. Not going to matter too much here because an Aqua Tail wouldn't put me in farm down range, but it is nice. It is going to force them to throw potentially early here, and I know a Chilling Water is not going to be enough to KO from there, so I commit to the Moonblast and realize that unfortunately my Florges' job is done. So I'm going to pivot back into my Gyarados, and now they bring in the Magnezone, and hard switching the Magnezone may not have been in this trainer's best interest, as now they're forced into the worst matchup they can imagine. The double super effective Mud Slaps tearing through the Magnezone's HP, and they're forced to go for the much less impactful Mirror Shot, which doesn't even get the debuff. We're going to go for a Brick Break here. Krookodile looking to lower the defense of the Florges and have these Mud Slaps add up over time. They are going to fire off a move. This is almost 1000% going to be a Chilling Water, but I'm going to shield it up anyway, and now pivot back into my Gyarados. Unfortunately for me, their Gyarados is able to live on 1 HP and get off a Crunch. This, not the best situation ever, especially not when they're able to get that defense drop, but I'm just going to go for the Aqua Tail. I need damage on their Florges. They're shielding early. This may potentially be good for us. I'm going to go for yet another Aqua Tail here, and they shield the second as well. But what they seem to have forgotten is that Krookodile is capable of lowering the defense of this Florges. So if I'm able to get some more Mud Slap damage and potentially an Aqua Tail off on this Pokemon, I may very well be able to pick up the knockout. Brick Break. Number 2 going to land, and now the floor just is devastatingly low. That next Mud Slap landing would have been very nice, and now the game is over if they Moonblast me right now. But I call the Chilling Water bait, and they go for the Chilling Water bait. This cannot be a Moonblast, but I'm going to shield it anyway. I shield it up. It is going to be the Chilling Water, and I overfarm, go for the Bad Manners Crunch. Down goes the Florges. GG's to this trainer. I cannot believe we just got away with that, but Gyarados leads into Hydreigon in the next match. This is going to be a little bit of a problem. I'm immediately pivoting out into my only answer, which is Florges, and I'm met with a Bullet Punch Metagross. Did this guy not get the memo, or is he just short of an Elite Fast TM? If you are short of an Elite Fast TM, by the way, you can get them occasionally from doing routes. So that is an option for the opposing trainer. Hopefully they're able to clutch one up in the near future, because Shadow Claw and Metagross definitely a lot better than the Meteor Mash counterpart. My floor just has no hope of ever flipping this, so I'm going to just no shield the Meteor Mash. Then they pivot into Gholdengo, and this gives me some life. I'm going to look to farm down this Gholdengo entirely. I'm going to call this. This is not going to be the Dazzling Gleam or the Focus Blast. And now they are going to fall one Astonish short of another move. Krookodile able to fully farm down, and I am not playing any games. This Metagross comes back in looking for the Meteor Mash. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going for the Crunch onto the Metagross. Are they going to respect it with a shield? They do not. Down goes the Metagross, and now I have Brick Break for the Hydreigon, and I know exactly what I need to do. I'm pivoting out into my Gyarados immediately. We are not throwing a charge move. We are going to fully Dragon Breath down the Hydreigon. They're going to get multiple Brutal Swings, but I can no shield one, shield the next, and then fully Dragon Breath down. Throwing a singular fast move here would be my downfall. As you can see, this is going to be exactly 9 Dragon Breaths. If I threw a fast move there, they had the opportunity to make a Brutal Swing KO, and then possibly also farm down my Krookodile. In the next lead, it's going to be a Typhlosion lead, and then they safe switch Primarina. I'm going to bring in my Florges here, and thinking that my opponent wants switch advantage, I'm going to, of course, shield up the Hydro Cannon, and then actually go for a Chilling Water bait. I'm very opposed to this bait normally, but thinking that my opponent probably wants switch advantage, I go for it. And unfortunately, my opponent doesn't fall for it. I'm going to go for another Chilling Water here. A third is going to fall short of KOing, but now that the Primarina is so debuffed, I can absorb the next Hydro Cannon, and if they flip switch advantage, it's actually not really that bad for me, because I do have a Gyarados, which does take super effective from Thunder Punch, double super effective in fact, and I have a Krookodile, but as long as I have a shield in play, the Typhlosion isn't really going to be that much of a problem. They go for another Hydro Cannon, and from about 20%, yeah, a double debuff Hydro Cannon is going to do the trick there. I'm able to get the full Dragon Breath farm down, which is very nice for me. They bring in a Magnezone, and now it is Krookodile's time to shine. We're going for the Brick Break. Poor Typhlosion, only going to be able to make one move here, so if they throw, this has to be a Blast Burn. I'm just going to shield it. I don't really care. So I shield up. If it's a Thunder Punch bait, they would only make another Thunder Punch. That was only 4 Incinerates, and now they get KO'd on their 5th, trying to make that second Blast Burn. Back in comes the Magnezone. I go for the Brick Break. They shield it up. There's just no hope. I throw the one Mud Slap and then try to combo with the Gyarados. They will win CMP, and they actually end up fully undercharging the Wild Charge, because under no other circumstance would Gyarados live that move. We get off the Aqua Tail, and we're able to take that game. GG's. Getting into the next game, Gyarados leads into a Mamoswine. Now, most Mamoswine I've encountered in this league are going to be on Mud Slap for the copious amount of Steel types that are at the absolute top of the meta, such as Kingambit, Gholdengo, and Metagross, but this one, interestingly, is going to be on Powder Snow. I'm not sure what Powder Snow does outside of strengthening your matchup into certain dragon types like Goodra, which is uncommon, and Dragonite, which I honestly think is just bad, but I'll just let it be. I'm going to go for a second Aqua Tail here, and I know that since their small move isn't Avalanche, Gyarados is going to be able to comfortably hang on without fear of getting farmed down, even though the Icicle Spear is going to connect. They bring in the Coma-O, and Coma-O does not have Metal Sound or at the energy that they threw at, Boom Burst. So I don't have to shield here, it's just going to be the Clanging Scales, they debuff their defense, and now I'm going to throw 4, and then go for a full Chilling Water Undercharge with my Florges. Although this may be slightly a bit of a misplay because they're going to be able to throw another move and pivot out, their Kommo is basically useless, and I'm going to leave with nearly 100 energy on my Florges. They're going to bring in their Golisopod, and this is a Fury Cutter Golisopod as well. Not at all the best thing for Krookodile to see here, but I'm going to go for a Chilling Water, then look to pivot out into Gyarados. They shouldn't shield here, because they should know that that's only going to be a Chilling Water. They're going to fire off a move at my Gyarados, but Gyarados should be able to survive thanks to the fact that they are debuffed. They go for the X-Scissor, which if they do have Aqua Jet, which I think they should have Aqua Jet, it is the less efficient move to go for. Back in comes the Mamoswine. We're going to look for the farm down, not quite able to get it. I don't want to reveal third just in case I queue them in the future, and my opponent does top left. GG's. Getting into the next one. Oh boy, is this another bad lead. But again, instantly pivoting into the Florges does allow us to get the debuff off on the Magnezone before they're able to land either a Wild Charge or hopefully not a Flash Cannon. So this is a pretty impactful debuff. They're staying in to throw debuffed energy. Generally, the Florges going for that debuff early does kind of incentivize the Magnezone to switch out. They go for the Mirror Shot. They get the low odds Mirror Shot debuff, or is it 50%? It might be 50%. Nevertheless, they pivot into their Shundo Florges, and I think I just lost a Fairy Wind there, but whatever, man. They go for the Moonblast. I realize that my Florges likely is not going to be able to flip that, and I have to pivot Gyarados in here, which is definitely an uncomfortable thing, but if they go for a Chilling Water here, I don't think it allows them to live 2 Aqua Tails. We correctly called the Chilling Water, and now I'm going to go for an Aqua Tail onto the Florges. Of course, the first one not going to be terribly impactful, but I think they are going to want to build up to the Moonblast to do significant damage, so they are right now at the Moonblast. I throw the Aqua Tail, and it is going to be just enough to KO. They pivot back into the Krookodile. Krookodile going to be aligned onto a Golisopod in the end game, and this doesn't feel like a winnable game, but we're going to do everything we can. Brick Break is going to land onto the Golisopod. Golisopod opts to no shield. I do, of course, get the 100% debuff on the Golisopod, but all that's being boosted right now is my Mud Slap damage. I go for another Brick Break as soon as I get it because this is right before they make their next move, and I'm trying to pivot out into my Gyarados. I am able to pivot out into my Gyarados and now allow them to throw energy at Gyarados as opposed to Krookodile, which is better for me, but they for some reason have Aerial Ace, maybe for the Mirror, and they're going to be able to bring in the Magnezone. Magnezone able to get a Mirror Shot off, get the debuff off as well, and unfortunately I didn't throw energy, but it doesn't matter. I wanted as much farm as possible with my Krookodile, and I am able to get 2 Mud Slaps off. They bring back in the Golisopod. Golisopod is low, but not quite low enough. They have 2 shields, and they may as well start using them. They go for the Aqua Jet. I'm going to undertap my Crunch, which my only win con is that they're very stubborn and don't want to shield a Brick Break. Unfortunately, they're more than willing to potentially shield a Brick Break to win the game. Now, unfortunately, we did go 4-1 that set, but that is still going to be enough to get us to 25-10 elo, and we get the really ugly janitor outfit this season. You love to see it. Getting into the next one, going to be Gyarados leading into Gholdengo. Gholdengo likely going to pivot out eventually here. But what I'm going to do is build up to the point where they get just shy of making that Power Gem, and they are on Astonish, so I know it's 5 Astonishes to the Power Gem. I catch it onto my Krookodile, and now they are going to bring in their Rhyperior. Now, by the way, making a catch onto Krookodile does lock it, so if they had a Florges in the pack or something, we were in a tremendously bad spot. I am going to be able to correctly shield up their superpower and go for the CMB tie with the Brick Break. They shield up the Brick Break, and now I'm going to be able to outpace them. This is going to be a Brick Break that is going to connect for big damage onto the Rhyperior, actually picking up the knockout thanks to the fact that they were 2 stages debuffed, one by the superpower, one by our Brick Break. They opt to bring back in their Gholdengo, and our job with our Krookodile is not yet over. Going to make another Brick Break here, likely not going to grab a shield, as they know that 4 Mud Slaps is only going to be a Brick Break, but that's okay. I can look to bring back in my Gyarados here, go for the Aqua Tail immediately, and in the back, they've got Metagross. I don't really think pivoting in Florges is going to be the best idea here, so I'm going to look to overfarm, go for a Crunch, and now that they've been debuffed, a Crunch is starting to get to a range where it can be threatening. So they are going to shield up, and now I'm going for yet another Crunch. This is a CMP tie, so very happy to shield this up. A Meteor Mash would do an amount of damage that I'm not very comfortable with right now, so Crunch is going to land onto the Metagross, getting them very low, looking for the farm down. They bring back in the Gholdengo. Gholdengo not quite yet able to make a move, and Aqua Tail will be enough to KO, and the Metagross switched on just about 1 HP, so the Dragon Breath will sneak through and get the KO there. In the next game, Gyarados leads into Kingambit. Kingambit is likely going to stay in here, and indeed it is. I am going to go for an Aqua Tail here, just before the Kingambit's able to make a potential Dark Pulse. And now I'm going to throw one Dragon Breath switch into the Krookodile. It's a simultaneous switch into a Magnezone, and my opponent immediately realizes that game is over. On to the next one. Getting into the next game, Gyarados into Metagross. One of those matchups that is defining the meta is definitely this one. They attempt to catch a Crunch onto their Dragonite, but I'm okay with that. I'm going to fire off this Crunch anyway, and there are Bullet Punch Metagross and a Shadow Dragonite, a bit of an uncommon pairing here, but what I can do, especially because this Dragonite is opting for the Dragon Tail, is just bring in Florges. Florges not going to take a lot of damage from the Dragon Tails, and the Thunder Punches, they're going to need 3 in order to get the KO. So I'm going to build up to my next Chilling Water, and I realize I have to throw because otherwise they make another Thunder Punch there, and that would potentially get the KO. I have misaligned Switch Timer here by my own fault, and I think they waited a turn. I don't know why, but I go for the Chilling Water, then bring back in my Gyarados. This is a Bullet Punch Metagross, so this is not going to be a whole lot of fast move pressure into us. They are going to be able to fire off a move at my Gyarados. I am going to No Shield, and it is of course going to be that Meteor Mash. Meteor Mash does do a lot of damage. I'm looking to make another Crunch, but they're able to catch it onto their Garchomp. This now gets pretty awkward. If this is a Dragon Tail Garchomp, I might lose. They're on Mud Shot, and Garchomp's health is slowly deteriorating thanks to the help of the Dragon Breath fast move from Gyarados. The damage overall has been reworked this season, but it's not going to be reworked enough where Gyarados is not going to be able to tear through the health of this Garchomp. They go for the Breaking Swipe. It's going to be their cheapest move in most scenarios. I'm going to bring in the Florges, basically forcing them to fire off a move at the Florges, and I'm going for the Chilling Water. They opt to shield up the Chilling Water, realizing they have to. They try to snipe down my Florges. It's not going to be a successful one though. I've got 2 shields on the Krookodile. We may as well start using them. They go for the Meteor Mash. I don't even think the Meteor Mash would have KO'd the Krookodile. Its bulk in this league has actually surprised me for the better, but I'm going to shield up what is likely going to be an Earth Power here. The Earth Power is shielded. I go for the Brick Break. We're going to Zero Bubble the Brick Break, and we're going to go for the Mud Slap Farm Down for absolutely no reason. GG's to this trainer. Getting into the next one, it is going to be Gyarados leading into Togekiss. This is immediately a problem. I don't have an answer to Togekiss on this team. If it's on the Krookodile, we just lose. If it's on the Gyarados, we are at a massive disadvantage, but we're going to have to try to play it out. I don't want to switch into Florges straight away, which is my only answer, and it's likely going to scare away the Togekiss, because it's not going to end up being a very good matchup for them. They go for the Dazzling Gleam straight away, so getting that shield call correct is going to be nice for us, but I do have the double Aqua Tail, but the one Aqua Tail is not going to be enough to KO. The second one is going to be necessary to either get the KO or pick up the shield, but they can just shield here, go for another Dazzling Gleam. If the Dazzling Gleam connects, it's going to be a massive amount of damage onto the Gyarados, and that's exactly what happens. I pivot into my Florges. They have a Swampert in the back. Now, I see no reason for Swamperts in this league not to come strapped with Hydro Cannon and Sludge, so I do take that into consideration here. Now, this is the question. Do I want to shield an early Sludge? I do not, so I am not going to shield it. They are going to be able to get a Sludge off on my Florges, and now I'm hoping that this Moonblast is going to be enough to KO. I believe this was the CMP tie. Moonblast onto the Swampert is going to connect. It is a CMP, and this isn't really good. I'm going to have to shield up this next Sludge, and now they bring in Rhyperior. Is this game winnable? I don't think so. I still think that this is going to be really uphill because there's not really a lot that our Krookodile is going to be able to do. I look to overfarm as much as I can. They're going to go for the Rock Wrecker on my Florges. I needed to switch on 3. I didn't expect them to throw when they did there, but I'm going to bring in Krookodile. Krookodile looking to make a move here. They do have superpower. This is a little bit problematic. They are going to go for the superpower. It hurts real bad, and now I try to pivot into my Gyarados here. I think they are going to live this Aqua Tail on very low HP, and if they do, which they do, I stopped tapping because I needed Krookodile farm, because I thought that I needed a crunch to KO the Rhyperior, but in retrospect, I think that was just the game-losing play. If I get that Dragon Breath down and concede 1 Mud Slap, I don't think that the Rhyperior is going to be able to make a superpower before I make my crunch, which hopefully would have KO'd. But that's last game stuff. We are in the final game of the video, and it's going to be our Gyarados leading into a Mamoswine. That one probably had Mud Slap as they instantly pivoted into their own Gyarados. Bring in the Mirror Down energy, not at all an advised play, but I do have a stronger response than my own Gyarados, so I opt to bank some energy on my Gyarados, then pivot into my Florges. Florges I know is going to be able to handle this Gyarados, and now they're going to be able to make an Aqua Tail, but from this range, Florges is outside of Aqua Tail plus farm down range, so I am going to anticipate the fact that they tried to switch into the Mamoswine there. Their switch was up, so if that Mud Slap landed, it would have been really bad for my Florges. They're going to be able to make an Icicle Spear here, but an Icicle Spear isn't going to be enough to KO. I'm going to shield it up anyway, and I'm going to look to commit to a full Dragon Breath farm down, which we are just able to get onto that Mamoswine. This is nearly an insurmountable energy lead, and with this energy management on this Gyarados, I don't believe there's a comeback my opponent can make. I'm going to overfarm just before they make their next Meteor Mash, and then pivot into my Florges, hoping for a catch, but I'm able to get off the Chilling Water. Chilling Water here is going to be shielded by the Metagross, not the play I was anticipating, and now I just bring in the Krookodile. They've got Gyarados in the back, and now I can even no-shield this Aqua Tail. Look at the bulk on Krookodile. I was actually impressed by the fact that an Aqua Tail only did that much. It is pretty shy of the 3800/4000 combat power that has become kind of the standard for the Master Premier Cup, so I'm actually pretty impressed by that. We go for the crunch, it gets the shield from the Metagross. I wait 2 turns instead of 1, so potentially a misplay there, but I am able to switch into my Gyarados, get the crunch off, and get the KO onto their Metagross. GG's to that trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. Krookodile surprised me quite a lot in the Master Premier Cup, but it makes a lot of sense. So it's first and foremost a Mud Slap user, and as you guys have seen by people running truly terrible Pokemon like Mamoswine, Rhyperior, and Excadrill to try to like cram Mud Slappers into this league where Mud Slappers do on paper have a lot of play, it's pretty evident that Mud Slap is really strong because there's an overwhelming amount of steel types that you're going to encounter in the Master Premier Cup. Couple that with the fact that it is also a sub-dark typing, and that is a pretty impactful typing in this league to be able to resist the bait move of Kingambit in foul play, and also be able to resist Shadow Claw, and you've got yourself kind of a competent Pokemon. Would I recommend building one? Unfortunately, it's towards the end of the rotation. If this was at the beginning of the rotation, I would probably say so, but Master Premier unfortunately comes around so infrequently that I can't in good faith recommend that anyone build their Krookodile right now. But if Master Premier comes back like next season, for instance, and is a similar meta to what we had this meta, I say go for it. It actually core broke quite a lot of teams here, and in one day I was able to gain in only 4 sets over 100 elo. I'm actually at 2552. I started the day at 2399, and I gotta say, for one of the first times ever when I run something so obscure, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Sorry for yapping your guys' ears off. I've been Shmeaty. Thanks once again so much for watching. I hope to see you all again next time, and have a good rest of your day. See ya.